But let's begin our visit in Adventureland, where, like Indiana Jones, you brave the perils of the jungle. The archaeologists have fled. The gods are angry. Their revenge will be terrible. There's trouble ahead. This ride will have you begging for less time after time. 1 minute 45 of thrills that feel like a lifetime when you're on it. Indiana Jones, the Temple of Peril, was already one of the most popular rides in the park. But recently, the roller coaster, buried deep in the heart of Adventureland, has had a major revamp. We persuaded one of the creative team who worked on the redesign of the ride to tell us how it happened.
The Temple of Peril originally opened in 1993. It was a victim of its own success to a certain extent because it became one of our most popular attractions. And so after a couple of years, we began to look at the attraction in the same way an artist looks at his painting after a couple of years and says, what can I do to embellish that, or what can I do to improve that?
At very busy times, the wait in the line for the ride was up to 2 hours long. So the first job was to redesign the carriages to fit in more passengers, 6, not 4, but at the same time make them lighter so that the ride would be more efficient. It was mission impossible for the engineers.
An absolute nightmare. How do you put 50% more people into a train which we know is already on the limit of its weight? We're actually automatically putting more people in, and they want us to take weight away from the train as well. An absolute nightmare.
The solution was to strip off all the excess decoration and weight inside the carriages, and to cram the seats together in a more upright position. Then came the suggestion, why not turn the seats around backwards?
We actually strapped an 8mm camera to the back of the existing ride vehicles and filmed the attraction backwards. We could then see what the guests were going to see.
It was a great idea. The ride would be thrilling. But it gave Andrew a new challenge to work on. Too many lateral Gs. Lateral Gs are what physicists call the effect of being thrown from one side to the other on a ride. Visitors call the same thing fun, but the key is to have them in moderation.
It's a white-knuckle ride. They're gripping this handrest like nobody's business. They're going forwards, and they anticipate a fraction of a second before they go into the bend which way they're going to brace their body. When you're going backwards, you don't know which way you're going to go. So obviously your head is constantly being rolled from one side to the other. For us, that's a problem.
The answer wasn't hard to find. The engineers got down to work on the track itself and started making changes.
As you can see here, this part of the track was modified. We've banked it more to prevent the body being thrown too far out as they go into the bend. There are other areas further down in which we have tweaked it in a different manner. But the whole idea is we don't want a smooth ride. It needs to be a slightly shaky ride. But we don't want to have excessive lateral Gs.
The engineers had cracked it. Now the designers had some thinking to do.
If you were in a movie theater, you'd be watching the screen. If you turned around behind you, you'd be looking straight into the projection room, which is obviously not something you really want to see. So in the same sense, in our attractions, we have ride vehicles that have our guests facing in a certain direction, so we're guiding what they're seeing. However, if the guests turn around and look behind them, then they're obviously going to see something that we don't wish them to see. And that was one of the major challenges, was trying to find a way of hiding and theming all these different lighting rigs, things that the guests shouldn't really see. I think a lot of people find Indiana Jones and the Temple of Peril backwards even more thrilling than when it went forwards. It's actually like a real Indiana Jones adventure. There's a surprise around every bend. You don't know when the drops are coming. You certainly don't know when the loop is coming. And I think that makes for an even more thrilling attraction.
In the end, they found answers to every problem. The only thing is, it's now more popular than ever, and you still have to wait to get on. So here's a tip. The new Fast Pass system lets you punch your ticket and then gives you a time to come back later. And when you do, you can go straight to the front of the line and have the ride of your life.